Hey, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. Make sure you like this video, comment down below, subscribe to this channel if you're new. Hey man, Takeoff. If Offset would have been there, none of this would have happened, man. And everybody knows that if Offset was there, he would have never let anything happen to Takeoff, bro, because due to the fact that Offset and Takeoff been rocking with each other with this whole time with this Migos breakup, because y'all got to understand, when the Migos broke up, it was really a thing between Offset and Quavo. And so Takeoff was sitting there telling them both that they need to stop fighting over a girl, stop beefing over this girl, that is just they letting too much get in between them and getting the bread for the Migos shows. And so that's why when you really look at it, it's like Takeoff and Offset, they really knew that they were still rocking with each other. Like both of them wanted to be cool with Takeoff, and so that's why like they were having to talk to him on the side in private. They were both texted him separately, like they couldn't even talk in the group chat no more. And so when they went to Houston, when they went to hang out with MobTies and everything like that, MobTies would have never did anything. Jay Prince Jr. would have never did anything if Offset was there, because he would have, Offset's the one that already been through all the dirt through Migos. Like he was locked up when they first was starting. So he would have rode for Takeoff the whole way. He would have basically made it to where they wouldn't have did anything. And if they did, that it would have ended up differently, and Takeoff might not have gotten hit, because the way that Quavo handled that situation, it ended up escalating into whatever happened that y'all saw. But like, let's just say that the tables were turned and that it was Offset in that position instead of Quavo. He would have found some slick way to let him know what was up, and that, you know, that they're going to leave and that they're not going to do anything to them. Because at the end of the day, you got to understand that he probably would have handled the situation a little bit better. And so, and he might have protected Takeoff more than Quavo did. Because if you look at it, Quavo was standing in one place and Takeoff was standing in another place. And because they were separated and had Quavo arguing over here, then it was like a distraction. And that's how the people were able to go around behind Takeoff and try to pop up on him from behind him. And like, that's where everything, the whole situation started, with the dude in the yellow hoodie popping out of nowhere. And he's the one that tried to pull first and jumped up in front of Takeoff. And some people were saying he tried to snatch his chain and that he tried to stick him up and hold him up, man. And so he tried to pull a fast one on him. But if you really think about it, if Offset was in that situation, he would have been standing right next to Takeoff, and he would have been telling them to back off, and they would have already got up out of there before that the whole event closed. Because you got to understand, if you go to somebody's birthday party like that, especially if it's a type like a whole event where it's a lot of people that might be there from the streets, you never know, right? Then what you got to do is, if the birthday party person leaves, whoever's birthday it is, you got to leave when they leave, or like right before they do, because once they leave, everything that's going to happen after that could be a setup. It could be a thing where they're like, okay, we got everybody here. We got everybody here lacking. They all tipsy now. They all kind of doing their thing, turning up, right? And so when they leave, that's when they could set them up and pull the fast one on the whole thing. And that's what you don't want to happen. That's what it kind of looked like it happened, because it's like right after that dude leaves, everything ends up taking off. And it's, you think that the person whose whole party it is would be there the whole time. And so they already knew that they was going to leave because things was going to get hot. They could already see the argument forming between Quavo and the other dudes. The dude with the white hat, the dude with the yellow shirt was already kind of like peeping and creeping around. He went to the back a few times. Like he went to the back and then he came outside with something. And when he came outside with something, that's when we see everybody start the recordings and everything like that. And then basically he got something from in there, and he came out and tried to hit a stain, or he tried to poke somebody. And basically that's why the manager backed up and seen that guy with the yellow hoodie about to do something, but it was like dark, it wasn't clear, and everybody was kind of moving around. So he had to like squint his eyes, take a couple steps back to really like assess like what's going on in this thing. And he knows that Takeoff is standing right there, and the dude is like jumping in front of him and behind him, doing just like weird little things, I think he was trying to like low key tote his pole and put it right, like to let Takeoff know to let go of the chain or do this or do that, right? And then that's when everybody started running because the dude backed up. But y'all would have understood that if Offset was there, he would have made sure that they were in like a place where they weren't cornered. Because if you look at it, they were kind of cornered. They had Takeoff cornered and backed in right against that bar, like that railing. So Offset would have made it to where he would have kind of peeped game and knew that, hey, we can't have just like the whole Migos scattered around and one person cornered here and then Quavo arguing over here. He would have been like, boom, as a unit, them three and then the manager, they would have had a little bit better ground so that if something was to argue, they could quickly hit the stairs and be gone just like that. Or they would have argued inside and then, if anything, they could have stormed out and went away. Or if things really, really got serious, then Offset's there and he's willing to pretty much he's willing to slide for Takeoff. He's willing to do that. So that at the end of the day would have been the difference maker in the whole situation because it could have turned out a lot differently than what it was. And, people gotta, I know that they're going to say like, oh yeah, if Offset's there, then they don't want nothing crazy to pop off because they know how he's definitely with the whole thing. Like he full force is basically the tough guy for Migos. Like he plays that persona, and so he would have already kind of like had more experience in that situation. It's probably a lot of times where Quavo had gotten into arguments in the past before, and things have slid under the table, like they swept the beef under the rug and everything, and never was really a problem. But over time, he can't just be arguing with anyone and everyone. He got to pick and choose his arguments. And sometimes it's better, like, okay, not to argue with this especially if they mob ties. Like, why would you go argue with them? Why would you go to their city in Houston, be with their security, and have them looking after you at their party, and then you argue with them, and then you see how it ends out? That's the thing we're talking about. Like, at the end of the day, they should have had an idea of like, okay, we can't let anything crazy happen today. So like no arguments and stuff like that. And not unless they got a way to get out the jam, because everybody knows that, hey, in Texas, they all got it on them. And so at any given moment, you get into an argument with somebody, you never know how it's going to end up. You don't know if it's going to end up like Zero and Trade of Truth, where they end up just trying to duke it out and then they get jumped by the crew. Or you don't know if it's going to end up like this with the whole Migo Takeoff situation, where the argument still goes. And then even though after the thing is closed, they still going at it. And Offset wasn't there. And so basically with the Migos being broke up, it was like so much stuff at once. They knew from that other side, like that they basically had him, in the bottom. Like they had him where it was like, okay, breaking point, the Migos is breaking up. Then you got Quavo over here arguing with people and stuff. And they knew it was like a time where like, okay, these dudes is like, at this point with the group being broke up and Quavo arguing, it's like, okay, they don't care no more. And that's how everything spilled out to end up the way it is, man. Hey, so make sure y'all subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment down below, let me know where y'all from, and let me know who you're rocking with. I'm gonna catch you on the next one.